everyone, welcome to Saturday Noon Live with Tara on World Environment Day. It's a very special day today, and we have a very special guest coming. I'm really sorry I got a little bit delayed, but firstly, I wanted to wish you all a very happy World Environment Day. I'm an eternal optimist, so I say happy because although, of course, we know unfortunately our planet is really under threat with climate change and you know rash development and so many other things that are really frightening. Even the pandemic at some level traces its origins to man messing with nature and disturbing the balances of nature, and all these things, although they're very grave, I also really truly believe in the inherent goodness of human beings and the fact that hopefully we as a species will all come together and collectively change the narrative and help save our planet and make this world a better place. So today we've got a really special guest. I'm going to let her on to the Instagram live, and as you know, we're also live on Facebook and YouTube. And I'm going to let her in onto the Instagram live, and later we'll do an edited version which will go up on YouTube as well. Hi Veer, beautiful, I love you sweetheart, thank you. Hi Zepda for saying very nice. Hi Kranti for saying hi. Okay guys, so let's get started. We're going to invite Suneeta Rao onto this. She's done a wonderful new song which is about, let me check if she's on, but yes, I'm wearing green for World Environment Day. Hi Suneeta, how are you?
Hello.
So lovely to see you.
Great to see you too.
And we've got, we're live on Instagram, and we've also got YouTube and Facebook that can hear you but can't see you. So we'll later edit it and put it together onto a video that will go onto YouTube as well. So for everyone who just joined us, Suneeta Rao is an amazing songwriter, a musician, a singer, an actor, and she's just released an amazing song called Vaada Karo. And it's really, really apt to be chatting to her on World Environment Day, because the song is all about a pledge to fight climate change and to save our planet. And as you know, we've all talked about things like this for a very long time. I'm very passionate about saving our earth and doing what we can. So Suneeta, to begin with, thank you for being here. And so tell us a little bit about what inspired the song, and how did the germ of the idea for Vaada Karo, how did it happen?
So right in the beginning, at the very outset, I want to say that I couldn't have asked for a better opportunity, a better day, and a better person to do this. Because it is World Environment Day today, and this is actually the day that I wanted to release Vaada Karo, but we released it about on the 20th of May. So it's already been 25 days, which is actually good, because I think people are already becoming a little bit aware of it. And today is a day when I really want to make the most noise about it, because it is just absolutely essential that you listen to the simplicity of the message in this song. Because I think, I want to say right in the beginning, I'm not any kind of an activist. I am an entertainer, I am an artist, and I only have one medium and one platform, and that is my music. And over the years, somehow, whatever albums I may have done, there's always been one or two songs which have got some kind of a social message in it, and it came naturally. Well, it's not like I want to take some kind of agenda and say, I don't want to preach. I just wanted to express myself how I feel about the world around me. So I was approached by a website which doesn't exist anymore to do an anthem for them, and they were known as Planet Alert. So obviously they were doing a lot of work in the environment, and they wanted me to do this anthem. And that's when I wrote the lyrics. And this was 11 years ago, when I was pregnant with your son's classmate.
Our kids were in the same class. My older son and Suneeta's daughter. Go on.
So she was, I was going to bring her into the world. And I said, what are we doing? I mean, what are we really leaving for our kids, and what are we leaving for their future? And that's when the words just came to me. But initially, it was composed by the incredible Dhruv, Dhruv Ganekar. Sorry, I stuttered on your name, Dhruv, if you're watching. So So I asked him to compose it because I've been wanting to work with him for a very, very long time. He's an incredible fusion producer. I think his understanding of what indie pop is supposed to be and indie rock is supposed to be is very much like mine. Okay.
Yeah.
And he wrote a beautiful melody, but at that time we didn't have anything else but that. We had the music orchestration with him and me and the melody.
Yeah.
And then the website basically packed up and we didn't do anything about it. And then many, many years later, you know, Somini, who's from Hangama Music, you know, she's a very, very old friend of mine and she's with me from the Channel V days.
Yeah.
And so she said, Suneeta, you remember that beautiful song that you wrote for that website? Will it be possible for you to actually do something with it? So I approached them and I asked them, I said, you know, I know you don't exist anymore. And we're like, can I use it? They said, please go ahead because not enough justice has been done to this tune.
Yeah.
And she decided to do some kind of a soft launch. And you won't believe it, on this day, 5th of June, I think about 6 years ago, we actually did the song live. We did it on Carter Road, and I did a soft launch, and I decided to sing it.
Yeah.
And coincidentally, on that particular day, the wonderful Dharavi Rocks, they were also there, and they were also performing at the same show. And I am a trustee with Acorn Foundation, and we work in the Dharavi community. And I was right there with them at the inception of Dharavi Rocks, and we kind of did a lot of workshops together. I did music workshops with them, vocal workshops with them. And they do this beautiful percussion with all existing material, like the big plastic drums and Bisleri bottles. And, you know, they made beautiful installations during the Eco Fair. And so I knew them very well. And I asked them to come on stage with me. And when they came, what they did to it was absolutely mind-blowing. Okay. And that's when I said, let's bring them on board. Okay. Somebody says, speak a little bit in Hindi. ठीक है, हम हिंदी में भी बात करेंगे. तो धारावी रॉक्स जो है वो उन्होंने हमारे साथ परफॉर्म किया उस स्टेज पे और हमने कहा उनको भी हम शामिल करेंगे रिकॉर्डिंग में. So I decided to bring them into the recording and we revisited the tune.
I was so amazed because I've also seen them perform live, and when I watched your video, which please everyone do go and tune in and watch. It's on YouTube. I also put up a little clip here on Insta before our chat so that people could have a little, listen to this song. You see how amazingly it's come together with Suneeta singing and with Dharavi Rocks and of course with Dhruv's, composition. It's just fantastic. So do listen. And the thing is, हम हिंदी में भी बोलेंगे, जरूर बोलेंगे, but जो बहुत अच्छी बात है, ये है कि म्यूजिक का जो लैंग्वेज है, यूनिवर्सल है. And I think that's
that's the beautiful thing you said, Tara, because ये वादा करो जो है वो हिंदी में भी है और इंग्लिश में भी है. That was the beauty. जब हमने धारावी रॉक्स को शामिल किया इसमें, तब बालाजी aka Crazy B, उन्होंने rap लिखा, Hindi rap. He wrote it, and he wrote it beautifully. He just needed he needed a little bit of help to get the syncopation right, to get it, merged with the track correctly. So, and they gave it a whole lot of contemporary relevance. They made the whole thing that much more fresh. So I'm so grateful that I had that coincidence happen, which made them become a part of the track. And more importantly, ये जो है, ये खुद environmentally conscious है, उनका जो तरीका है रहने का is basically you making the best use of their resources. They reduce, they reuse, they recycle, they remake, they are incredible. And so just the whole, they are the epitome of environment protection.
Of sustainable living. So
of
that
sustainable living.
That brings us to, today being World Environment Day. I actually started by saying that, I said Happy World Environment Day because I'm an eternal optimist. No, and as much as one knows that climate change is, ravaging our beautiful planet, that, honestly, irresponsible development that we're seeing all around us is doing so much harm. There's rising sea levels. There's a pandemic that at some level traces its origins to man messing with nature. So there's so many things that we have to be really upset about. But I also think that human beings are hopefully inherently good. And we see with our own kids, right? They just get it. They get the need to save the earth. They get it. They don't even need to be told. I often feel it's just the older people who need to be reminded. So I like to believe that people will come together and really do what they can to help, you know, help reverse climate change and help make our world a better place. So on that note, I know that your song is a pledge to Vaada Karo, you know, to make a promise, to pledge to actually protect Earth from climate change. So tell us a little bit about climate change and what you feel could be done and what we're actually dealing with when it comes to our Earth, and how long do you think we have? Because I think statistics show that as soon as 30 years from now, we'll probably have a very, very, very different planet, and we're seeing it. Every year, we're seeing our monsoons getting, you know, harsher. We're seeing our summers getting harsher. We're seeing the sea levels rising, and I personally have been very upset by certain infrastructure projects which I feel could have been done more sustainably. So it's not about being anti-development, but it's about finding ways to live in harmony with nature and have sustainable development. So tell us a little bit about your views on climate change. And I know in the song you've also linked the pandemic into it, the cyclone, all these things. So tell us a little bit about that.
You know, so when I was very, very little, okay, I had a very, very strong influence at home. And that was my brother. Okay, मेरे भाई साहब जो हैं, he is a professor now at Yale University in the US. Okay, and he works with energy systems. And bachpan se he has always been very, very aware of how we use our energy, how we use our electricity, how we use our water. And उन दिनों में तो कोई AC वेसी नहीं थी. We lived in a very, very humble apartment in Matunga, and we grew up with very, very, we're just satisfying our very, very minimal needs. Our parents were working their hats off to put us into a good school. And we really lived in this way, which was to save our resources. But we never knew why. हमें बिल्कुल पता ही नहीं था कि हम ऐसे क्यों कर रहे हैं, क्यों हमें कह रहे हैं कि हमें लाइट बंद करना है, क्यों हमें कह रहे हैं कि टैप बंद करो, क्यों कह रहे हैं कि if you can take a walk, don't necessarily take the car. गाड़ी में बैठना जरूरी नहीं है, अगर नजदीक है तो आप चल के जा सकते हैं. So in those types of things, so today children are becoming a lot more aware. What is happening is India has got the vastest and the biggest population which is vulnerable to climate change. Okay. And if we compare it to the rest of the world, we are going to be most prone to frequent sudden changes in weather, droughts, monsoons, cyclones, whatever it may be. We are the most susceptible to it because of our vast population, geographically, for various reasons. And because of the mistakes of the few people who can afford a lot of things, both within India and outside, because of their mistakes, India's poor is going to suffer the most. And this is something that I've only realized because of chatting with my brother and talking about the actual statistics, like you say. This is actually a fact. And the other thing is, climate change is not something that you either believe in or don't believe in. It's just a fact. It's
a fact.
And that there is an island in the Pacific which is completely made out of garbage. The whole island is made of garbage, that kind of thing. So I'm saying, like I said, I'm not an activist. I am not a politician. I am just a person who can speak through my music. And whatever little bit I have learned, I feel if I have a platform, I can actually feel the responsibility to spread the word in whichever way I can. Okay. Absolutely. So what I'm saying is, awareness is half the battle won. If every single human being says it's not my problem, ये उलझन हमारी नहीं है, किसी और की है, if we say that, then we have a problem, which is why that's one of the main sentences in the song says, ये उलझन है हमारी किसी और की नहीं, सहती है दुनिया सारी कहीं ना कहीं.
Lovely.
That kind of thing.
Wow.
So that's basically what it says. It says this: if every individual treats it as their own problem, and something which, if you look at it positively, it's like something that we can actually do something. We can actually make a difference. That makes it a positive thing.
Yeah. In fact, when I had Amir Khan on my show some seasons ago, he actually said, that everyone has a voice. When I asked him, I actually said, you have such a large platform, such a loud voice, and you can do so much. He said, actually, everyone has a voice, and it's just about using it. And whatever your platform is, whether one has, film or whatever it is, you can all do something. And I think we are seeing this so much with children. Our kids who are in the same class in school did an amazing project on the Sustainable Development Goals. I was floored, as were we all, with what all they came up with.
No,
and
I was absolutely blown. The children, some of them were doing things like TED Talks. Some of them had actually made models. Some of them were just giving references that they had gone to places and interviewed people. And, they had gone into forest environments. They had gone, somebody went
and they were using their platform. And even though their platform may not be big social media networks or whatever else, everyone has a voice. Everyone can make a difference. Personally, I've very closely witnessed a movement of sorts over the last 3 years, where people came together to honestly save our coast. And again, I kept saying, I'm no activist, I'm no an expert, I'm not an environmentalist in the expert way, but I'm just a concerned mom who wants to know what's going on. Like, what are our children going to be breathing in like 20 years from now? So all of us. So I think things like, and I had a wonderful chat on a show that I do for BBC Earth called Earth Champions with Kalyan Verma, who actually said a wonderful thing. He said, a lot of cynical people will say, oh, you're just writing a song for the climate, or you're just looking out for your little area, you're worried about your own view. That's what a lot of cynics.
To be honest, I'll tell you, I'll interrupt you.
You know what he said, which I thought was so fantastic. It's anything that stirs you and makes you do something is absolutely worth it. And the truth is, it's better to do something than nothing. So whether it's because you're concerned about your own space, or you're also doing something for your own talent, whatever it is, you're doing something. And I think that says a lot.
So I'll take it from there, Ara. I'll say nothing comes from nothing.
Yeah.
But and the thing is, you say घर में बैठे-बैठे कुछ नहीं होगा, लेकिन आजकल घर में बैठे-बैठे बहुत कुछ होगा.
Bilkul.
You can sit at home and you can think. If you have your faculties together, you can think, you can write, you can read.
Yes.
So many things you can do from home. You can reach out to so many people like this.
We're all connected.
Look at us.
People watching, and we've got, thousands of people. In fact, on different platforms. So, Suneeta, there's also YouTube and Insta. I'm going to do a funny thing and show my YouTube and Insta audience that you're there.
Okay. All right. I'm looking at a desk and a computer and a bottle and some other machines, but I think I'm looking at people.
And this is Rupak's little workspace that he gives me from time to time for my home shoot.
Lovely. What a lovely setup. I'm going to tell everybody I have the opportunity to go to my YouTube channel. You can actually just look up Vaada Karo official video. If you just go Vaada Karo official video, it will take you straight to the video on my channel, and and watch it and listen to it, listen to the words and enjoy the music. You can even just, subliminally at whatever level, even subconsciously, if the message gets in, that's also okay, as long as you listen to the music and you feel good. There is a feel good aspect to it. And believe me, right now, we don't want any doomsday scenario. I don't want to give anybody any statistics. Because agar hum statistics padhna shuru kare, there's no end to it. And every day you can say these many people died, these many people went to the hospital, this many new lakh cases. You focus on the right thing. Okay. Just focus on the right thing. Focus on what you can do. Focus on being happy, on protecting the ones that you love. And
absolutely.
अब मैं सबको कहूँगी ना मुझे छूना ना दूर ही रहना. Really, literally, you stay away from everybody because that's a positive thing to do.
Suneeta, we've got a lot of questions coming in here, and while I would usually wait for questions till the end, I'm gonna actually just acknowledge some because there's loads of things coming in. We've got firstly, a couple of people have asked you to sing a few lines from Pari Hoon Main. Then, so maybe that.
I usually leave that for the end because otherwise, if I sing it, then sab log bhag jayenge.
Okay. So we'll keep that bit for the end. Then we've got somebody saying, "Hello, beautiful." And then
hello,
lovely.
Somebody said, say your name. Queen. If you're a queen, then you're talking to two queens right now.
Then I'm trying to scroll to find the comment, but there was a wonderful comment talking about how we can all do our bit to reduce our carbon footprint, and any little thing as well. I noticed the children are very careful to turn the fan off in the lift the minute we get out of it. and things like that, which, as you mentioned, when we were kids, to be honest, it's not that we were bad and it's not that our parents didn't know, but it wasn't like these things, whether it was climate change or inclusion, or these were not topics, you know. So I kind of feel so happy that now kids are aware of these things as things to do something about, as in, you know what I mean? So the awareness, as you said, goes a long way. Then we've got, it's very easy to cut something off uh, if you really want to make a difference. I think that's a good point.
Very good.
That's Nishant saying, you know, as much as we all think it's difficult, actually it's very easy to do these little things like turning off your lights and fans, and, you know, using, in fact, even things like fast fashion, you know, recycling your clothes
Yes,
and not
absolutely.
buying so
Recycling
much.
your clothes, yes.
Things like that can make a lot of
Yeah.
difference. Queen of Pop, we've got I Chandradeep saying Queen of Pop. Then we've got today I've planted 2 trees in
Planted
my
2 trees.
garden.
Excellent. Wonderful. Well
Yeah,
done.
that's excellent. I make it a point to plant trees every year. That's wonderful.
Excellent.
So all these
Wonderful.
things are fantastic.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
personally think as much as it's wonderful to plant, I think it's also really important for powers that be to understand that they should not honestly sacrifice nature at the cost of development, you know, at the
Yes, yes.
because of development. I think they need to find more sustainable solutions. In most countries in the West, which are moving very fast towards, you know, sustainable development more and more, they're actually cutting back on things like building roads, and, you know, it's more about trying to actually use cycles or walk or more pedestrian tracks or more
Yeah.
outdoor spaces. So I think I really hope we're able to do more of that here
I
too.
think this is one of the very most important points that we should stress over here, because it's all very well for us to say, okay, don't use your private transport, use more public transport and walk where it's necessary. If we're going to walk, then the city has to be walk accessible. They have to
Absolutely,
make it, you know,
absolutely,
I should be able to step out of my house into beauty. I should not have to get out of my house and wade my way through things.
absolutely,
So
absolutely. And
that
I
is
do
something
think
which we
that
don't have control over. We don't have a control over that, but we can say it and we can make it happen like you do in so many things where you make your petitions and stuff. That's important, you know.
yeah, I mean, I must admit, when I first got to know of this whole coastal road thing, I really didn't know anything. It was just more like a lay person asking questions. But when I saw the power of people coming together, from fisher folk to top lawyers to top industrialists to lay people just living along the coast, asking questions, I realized, and the High Court and the Supreme Court actually stopped the project, saying it didn't have environmental clearances, and then for whatever reasons, it restarted. But to me, it actually gave me so much inspiration to see that people do make a difference. And the everybody, when I first was asking questions, all my friends, as much as, you know, of course, I love them and I respect their views, they all said, Taru, don't even bother. There's nothing we can do. There's nothing one can do. And you know, this whole movement taught me that, you know, even if you think there's nothing you can do something, because today, even though the project is happening and it breaks my heart to see the ocean being destroyed, at some level, I still feel somewhere that I try, you know, and I know that sounds weird, but it kind of allows me to look at it without getting too upset.
See, there's another thing. There's another thing here, Tara. You know, maybe there might be a lot of people out there who really want to do something but don't know how. They
Yes,
don't have the
absolutely.
opportunity. They don't have the wherewithal. So these
Yeah.
kinds of things, for example, when there is a petition, no, for example, when there is an interview
Yeah.
like this, where they hear about
Yeah.
suggestions of what you can do, or for example, through music, where you hear, you know, artists over the years, you know, whether it is our environmental situation or whether it's the war situation, whether, you know, it's the domestic violence or whether it is attitude towards women,
Yeah.
anything, you know, if there is an artist out there who sings something, whether it's, you know, the Beatles and Michael Jackson with his Earth song, I mean, you know,
Yes.
everybody, all the people who have that kind of a responsibility, if they convey it through their music, then they have a chance to reach masses. And, you know,
Absolutely.
people then get awakened. And if they get something in their thing which says, sign this petition, they're like, oh, this is how I can do it. So then you do it.
Absolutely.
Or if they hear the song and then they say Suneeta Rao saying, or Michael Jackson saying, you know, whatever, it comes into their consciousness. So this is the only way
Absolutely.
one can help.
Absolutely. And I think it's also important, like Suneeta said right at the start, that she's not some big activist. I say that too. The reason I personally feel that is because as a person, I'm quite non-controversial. And I think it's really important on a day like today to understand that World Environment Day is for everyone. It's not just the green flag bearing environmentalists who are against the developers. It's not that. It's actually all together. And that's why I keep reiterating that being pro-environment does not mean being anti-development. It has to just go hand in hand. And, you know, that I think is... Go on, go on.
No, and I have to mention here that there's a lovely group of people and they're called the Rebel Girls. I don't know if you've heard of them, Rebel Girls. So you must have heard of that Goodnight Stories for Rebel Girls, those lovely books. So this was obviously an inspiration from that. And they had the group, age group from 10 to 17. Okay, and they are only girls and women, and they're an organization that basically brings up all kinds of social issues. Okay, and then they have some kind of an event, and they have registrations. All the kids register, and they take part, and then they have guest speakers and guest singers and everybody. And I'm going to be doing theirs in a couple of days, where I'll be playing.
But why is it only girls? I'm not a big fan of things that are only girls.
It's okay. It's nothing to do with. It's nothing to do. That is not my. I don't have a problem with that because that is what's giving them the impetus. The people who are doing it are young girls, so they call themselves the Rebel Girls, and therefore they stick to only women.
You should tell them to include everyone.
Yeah, the thing is, you know, right now I think I have my hands full in telling people what to do. So. And I'm very
I know.
You know,
I mean, it's just like all of us speak up for things. For me, it's one of my
I'm not actually, even though they say
walk or show for the girl child, I'm like, can we just walk for all children? Like, I think we also in the gender
there's a definite reason for that, Tara. Two things I'll say about in reaction to this. One is that it's surprisingly one of the kids who's doing this is Div. He's a boy and he's very much a part of this organization. So I'm sure there is inclusion from that. I'm saying that in terms of the guest speakers, I think they're getting women because they want to inspire. Reason being that it is the women who have not been given an opportunity so far. And therefore, I think it is basically to the ones who have succeeded, they want to bring them to the forefront.
I think this is a topic. This is a topic that, frankly, I absolutely agree. I mean, one has to get the gender scales to balance, and unfortunately, historically, it has been skewed. But my concern, frankly, when it comes to gender, is that once we get them balanced, and a lot needs to be done to get there, I really worry it shouldn't flip the other way. In an urban center, like in an urban setting for people like us who touch wood are at some level, you know, we all bring up kids to be completely equal. I actually find that we have to be very careful not to let it flip, you know? I mean, I'm just saying as a young parent, because I'm so involved in the parenting space and have been doing a show for 12 years in this space, a simple thing like this, like on social media, very honestly, I'll never find parents of boys saying, boys are best, boys are best, boys are best. But often you'll see that about girls. And it's not about that. It's just because we're so conditioned never to praise the male gender when it comes to, because we're so conditioned about this bias, the skewedness, you know, whereas actually every kid is amazing and it's not about gender, but because historically there's been so much discrimination and we need to get the scales to balance, to be careful, I feel sometimes not to flip it. You know what I mean?
So what you're saying makes sense, as you said, in the urban context.
Although
having said that, whether it is urban, rural, educated, uneducated, we still come from a country where there are cities where there are no girls left.
I know, it's tragic.
So that's the bottom line. That's the bottom line, and it cannot be ignored. So when I speak about gender, I speak about about the skewed sex ratio. Not just that, I speak about the elimination of the girl child and sex selection, and that's rampant. It's rampant. And then of course, even when there are when they do let her be born, as we say, then there's still, you know, very, very basic intrinsic attitudes where you will give a little more encouragement to the boy and you'll stop the girl's education after some time, whatever the reason may be, because she has to walk too much of a distance to get to her school because something might happen to her along the way. My own driver tells me this. He says, I've stopped my girl's schooling because we're scared that on the way to the school something will happen to her. I mean, that is the country we're living in. And we can't see those who are in a position like us in your platform that you're referring to. You can talk about, you know, the boys maybe taking over or whatever, but I'm actually not referring to that group of people because there is conversation. And then when there is conversation, there can be change. So that doesn't worry me that much, Tara, honestly, you know. So Yeah, and it's about basically where there is an oppression of women, when there is oppression of her voice, when she's capable of so much. I'll give you a small example, okay? So when my brother, in the process of his research, he went to a village in the north, okay, and he was sitting over there, and the wife was sitting at the stove and making him beautiful hot chapatis, and while he was sitting on the charpai with the husband and chatting, okay, and he happened to mention, he was talking about the consumption and the electricity and everything, and the wife kept turning and looking. And suddenly, my brother spoke about his PhD, and the wife just stopped doing what she was doing.
Yeah.
And my brother looked at the husband, he looked at the wife, and he said, "What's going on here?" He said she had done her PhD, but
Wow.
she was sitting and making chapatis in the village because she had no opportunity to take it further. And that
That's
was
very
her own motivation and her own gumption that made her get out there and somehow get. She took out the papers and she showed it to my brother, and he was almost in tears.
Yeah.
And of course,
Yeah.
why should we say boys shouldn't cry? We shouldn't
Yeah.
say
Yeah.
that. Of course,
Yeah.
boys must cry.
Yeah. Of course.
So
Yeah.
this is the kind of thing that we are living with. So
Yeah.
yeah. So anyway, we've
Yeah.
completely
You know,
divested.
yeah, I know. But see, that's what's so nice about a chat when it comes to
Yeah,
having different different opinions, different views, and sharing. I think what's so
absolutely.
incredible is that social media and technology has enabled this. And we could keep
Yes,
chatting because as two parents, we'll have to now, I would love to now go into how, oh my
I
God, the
know.
pros and cons of technology and all that. But there's too much
Yeah,
to say.
we have
But
so much to talk about. Yeah.
coming back to World Environment Day, we've got Kindle saying here, what are some environmentally friendly personal choices we can make every day? Great if you can share some from personal experiences. So, what would
So
you say?
yeah, so like I have already mentioned, one is in the home, how you use the
Yeah,
resources, whether it is the segregation of wet and dry waste, whether it's the use of
yeah,
electricity, the choice of a certain kind of a home, where you don't necessarily have to air condition the whole place, or maybe if you're using one AC, you don't use the other, or if it is in a situation where you don't have any such thing, then maybe the use of water, those
yeah,
are. And then, for example, where you can take public transport instead of actually taking a private vehicle, or if you can walk, hopefully if you have
yeah,
the possibility to walk, then you walk, okay? So those are certain steps. And also, for example, the products that you use. If you're going to
yeah,
use a spray, if you're going to use an aerosol spray, that's going to basically pollute the room that you're in, use it
yeah,
less, or,
yeah.
just maybe go to a more open space and do a small squirt and then come back. Or whatever, I don't know. You don't have a lot that you can do, but you have a
Yeah.
little that you can do every day.
Absolutely. I completely agree. And also, as Sunita said, if whatever you do, if you're in the creative line, whatever your profession, you can also use that if you're, if you are a musician or whatever you're doing to actually spread a message and help raise awareness too. I think, as you so rightly said, wherever you can have a conversation, you can bring about change. And I think that's a really lovely thing to say because sometimes people talk about armchair activists and oh, if you're just sitting and having these chats, what does it do? But actually the very fact that one's thinking and changing your mind and being open to hearing other people's points of views and what you
Yes,
can do, that's I think
yes,
really, really important. And after
yes.
all, as I keep saying, even with this pandemic, it's so tragic. We're all hoping and praying we're all fine forever and kids go back to school
Yeah,
safely soon, touch wood and all that. But at
yeah.
some level, it's also something that's woken us all up to the desperate need to look after the earth, the reality that we are all one. We're all in this together. And this is really a wake up call that the world is absolutely connected,
You know what's
and
wonderful? What's happening is that you're realizing that you haven't spoken to certain people and seen them in a while, and you're getting in touch.
yes,
And in a
absolutely.
way, um, uh, I have spoken to certain people after such a long time, and it's only
Yes,
because of this, because you want to know whether they are okay, you know, and then you ring up just to see out of your concern, and then you end up catching up and catching up and catching up, and that is one of the most beautiful results of a pandemic. And also that the people at home are spending more time with each other. Like even I read something which I think you had written or you had said, where we are just getting to know each other a little more, and we're spending a lot more time. My sons are getting more time with me. Similarly, my daughter is getting more time with me. My husband and I are more together at home. You know, so it is. We have to look at the better side of things. We have no option, because when you feel negative, then you feel paralyzed and you can't do anything.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely. And having said that, like we've got Abhi saying that, they've lost loved ones. Of course, it's also been a tragic time. And I do think that the vaccine, touchwood, is really a light at the end of the tunnel. So again, using a platform where we're both chatting to say if you're eligible for the vaccine, please take it. I do think that at least there's some hope compared to last year, where we're seeing that with double doses, God forbid if anyone gets it, it's mild. So we're coming out of this. And
that's the thing. See, you have to keep yourself informed. Yes, I know. I will react to the person who said that people are losing their loved ones. Yes, my dear, it is happening. It is happening all around us. It is happening very, very, very close to home. Each and every one of us has lost somebody, whether we are close to them or not so close. All of us, it's happening to everybody, okay? And that is why all the more reason why we have to keep ourselves informed. Like for example, what Tara said just now. Don't overly worry about what might happen. Nobody knows what will happen. There is a lot of unpredictability with this particular disease. So if you know, for example, that, okay, if your kid is going to get it, it's not going to be so harmful. The kids will have a certain reaction and they will get over it. But at the same time, there may be certain complications which can happen after COVID, which we've heard from a lady who had shared her experience recently. So just read and keep yourself informed. That's it. Padhte raho, or, just apna gyan badhate raho. Just keep just finding out what is going on and just be alert. And then be positive. I think be alert and be positive, and then the rest of it will just take care of itself. And have faith.
Yes, and I think personally, like I find that when it comes to medical things, I honestly just pick the people I really trust, my own doctor, my own, pediatrician, and that kind of thing. And then I honestly, as much as I read a lot, I don't let myself get swayed, because for every article, there's a counter article. And that's what's also scary. You have to be so careful not to get an influx of information and get yourself into a twist. So I think and that's why, Suneeta, coming back to your amazing song, Vaada Karo, I think to have used this time productively to do something that you're passionate about, that's also helping make a difference, is really wonderful. And we've got Green Hope Naturalists saying doing our bit is important, because earth and environment do not need our attention. It's we human species who need to sustain ourselves. And so we have to do our little bit for sustaining Homo sapiens. Actually, in some ways, that's true, but at the same time, human beings, unfortunately, are also destroying so many other species' habitats. So we need to be mindful not to do that. And, again, one learns so much every day, because like my husband, Rupak, has turned vegan, and he was a hardcore meat eater. And he's turned vegan for various reasons. But sometimes as somebody who is still non-veg, I, sometimes try and coax him to eat a bit of meat. And again, a top environmentalist who was on that the show I did a few weeks ago, he actually said that, it's interesting, because while you think you're protecting animals when you go vegan and all the rest of it, there are certain things that are keeping the balance of nature. And actually, in some ways, there's an element of give and take which actually enables the environment to stay balanced. So it's not always when you think that, oh, I'm saving animals, or so he actually had a really interesting point of view that when conservationists say things like save this animal, save this animal, save this animal, he said you actually have to go into each situation to know what is being put at harm because you're saving that animal. It's a very interesting thing how every habitat, every ecosystem is actually so unique. So while there are some generic things, like obviously save our earth, you actually need to also be mindful of the actual space you're in to know how to make that work. So Suneeta, are there any last words, any tips you'd like to say to anyone, or before you sing a few lines of each song?
Of each song? Okay, then we'll be here for another 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So how much time do we have?
Just a little bit of this, so that people know that they can now go and click on the YouTube link and also on my feed. I've just put up a little clip of the song. And
lovely.
so if you sing a bit of this and a bit of Pari Hu Main, I think people will be very, very happy.
Yeah. So somebody was saying, why are you debating over here? Why are you chatting so much? Okay, so let's get a little bit of music into this then. So then those who are saying, let's not talk too much about the environment, let's not debate, let's have some entertainment because that's what Suneeta Rao is all about, then all right, fine, let's do that.
Okay. And
So
also just one last thing I must say, for all our wonderful comments here, I last week I was doing a chat with a doctor. So I had to tell him in advance, I said, see, all of us who are in the entertainment space, we're very used to amazing comments. 99% of the comments are amazing, but there'll always be that 1% of random stuff. So we have become immune and I just laugh. But I always tell my guests, don't get alarmed if you suddenly see, hey, sexy lady, I want your number.
Look, can I tell you one thing? The moment you get onto something like Instagram, you are definitely vulnerable to any kind of, because it's a public platform and anybody's going to say anything that they want to. Okay.
So if anyone says don't debate anymore, it's
so
okay. We can say okay, but we can also say no, we'll chat. It's okay.
So one is long enough in the business now. It's been actually 3 decades of Pari Hu Main. Okay. 3 decades I've been in the industry. So I think I've developed a thick enough skin. So
yeah,
here we go.
And my dad is well as well. So it's been lovely to reconnect after all this time. So let's hear.
Seriously, ma'am, your curls. Somebody's talking about my curls. How nice. Okay, fine. And so she's silken straight and I'm curly. So we're like a shampoo ad right now. So how about this oldie? In a way, also saying how we feel right now. अब के बरस वो हाल है लगा गजब का साल है जी जिया मोरा बस में ना आए रामा मस्त नजर का जाल है बहकी बहकी चाल है जी हो जिया मोरा बस में ना आए रामा अब के बरस अब के बरस वो हाल है जी. Yeah, that was released in 2000. Yeah.
Wow, fantastic.
Then, what was that? Indian Girl. Did somebody mention Indian Girl?
Yeah, I think I saw that.
She's a lover, she's a giver, she's a winner, she's a queen. She's a lover, she's a giver, she's a winner, she's a queen. She is precious as a pearl. She's an Indian girl.
Lovely.
Yeah, that's from my album Indian Girl. I hope you've heard it.
Lovely. Wow.
And then, what? Yeah. केसरिया है रूप मारो चमचमावे रे पैया में है घुंघरू न्यारो चमचमावे रे आँखन में तो प्रेम थारो झिलमिलावे रे हो मारे बलमु नाचेरो ना.
Wow!
Okay.
Gosh, sometimes I just wish I could sing. I can't sing to save my life.
बड़ा चले बलिया अरे मारो रसिया देखो पहन लियो जाली वाला करता खूब सजा खिड़ के हंसा जट थाम मिले या फिर हाथ मेरा घूम घूम नाचन लागा क्या खूब जोश में जागा कर लौंग के दर कहीं वाला गिरा मर अंग अंग मतवारा भैया हम भाप गयो मन कांप गयो दोनों नाचत नाचत हाप गयो चट सीने से फिर लिपटा लियो और अपने आप में समाये लियो. Then I had this song on one of my albums in Marathi, no? 1, 2, 3, 4. What's how the melody? I'm blanking out. 1 second, huh? आले चलो तुझे लेने आजा ना 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 गावातली पोर माझी छेड काढती लय मला भ्या वाटती जाऊ कशी रे मी एकटी तू ये रे माझ्या संगती. Something like that. That is from one of my albums.
Amazing.
We were talking about the girl child. So Sunzara. Okay, sing closer to the mic. Okay. सुन जरा सुन जरा सुन जरा सुन लो दिल की जुबां खुद को ना दे सजा ये तो हक है तेरा बात ये ना भूला ना वो दिन रहा ना वो रातें भूल जा भूल जा भूल जा Don't push me, don't force me, don't hurt me, don't. When you know things are getting real rough, you've got to be tough enough.
Wow! Amazing! Fantastic! So really, really amazing. And I think it's coming up to almost 1 o'clock.
So then I have to sing Pari Hu Main and I have to go away, basically.
Not for any reason except a few weeks ago, I did a live and we got so caught in the chat that we went over a certain time and then I lost the whole thing. So
oh, goodness. Okay, come on. Telugu. చమక్ చమతలుకులే ప్రేమ చరితలో చెరుగని చిరునామా మనసి కథ చడిపేది ప్రేమే సుమా నీలాడినోలని నీటిలో నాను అనోనండినే ఈ ప్రేమ ఈ ప్రేమ ఈ ప్రేమ చమక్ చమతలుకులే ప్రేమ
Lovely.
Okay, so फूलों में जो नूर है मेरा ही सुरूर है ओ आंखों में गुरूर है ख्वाबों का कसूर है कोई तो ऐसा हो सांसों को मेरी महका जाए आई मैं तो आई नजर के अनजाने एक जहां से लाई मैं तो लाई बाहर के अफसाने भी वहां से Sing with me. ना मुझे छूना ना दूर ही रहना परी हूँ मैं परी हूँ मैं मुझे न छूना परी हूँ मैं
Woo! Fabulous! Excellent. So thank you so much, Suneeta. That was so lovely.
Thank you.
So much came out of it. So thank you so much. And everyone who's watching, it's World Environment Day. Please check out Vaada Karo, a wonderful new song.
वादा करो कुछ करना है अब वादा करो अपने हाथों इस धरती की ऐसी तबाही होने ना दो वादा करो ये वादा करो वक्त है कम से रोकेंगे हम ये वादा करो
Lovely. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Tara.
Lots of love. That was wonderful. I'm going to put this up on IGTV and then we'll have an edited version on YouTube and Facebook too.
Excellent.
And lots and lots of love. And bye.
And next time I'll sing a Bhojpuri song, whoever was asking for it. Okay, thank you.
You can sing a bit of it now if you want.
I won't remember the lyrics. I'll have to look it up. I'll study it and come back. Okay.
Lots of love to Maya.
Okay.
Lots of love
thank
to
you,
Jason. Lots of love to all of you.
And Kai. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
So that was lovely, Suneeta Rao. And I'm going to have the edited version up on Instagram, on YouTube, and on Facebook. And so, Suneeta, bye.
Bye.
Lots of people saying how much they enjoyed that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And as always, I go live with 3 people very, very briefly. So just very briefly, going to go live with 2 more people. And then I will say have a fabulous day. And do join us at 5 o'clock on the BBC Earth handle, where I'll be going live with Sonakshi Sinha. Here we're going live with a couple of people just before I let you guys go. That was a really lovely live and on YouTube. Hi, how are you?
Hi. I'm fine. How are you? Can I hear you?
I'm fine. Where are you? Where are you calling from?
I'm from Pune.
From Pune. And how's the situation there in Pune? Are you fine and safe? Everything's all right?
Yes.
Yeah? And are you a student? How old are you? Okay, that got cut. And one last live, and then I shall let you guys get back to your day. Thank you so much for joining. Mayank, you says you look beautiful always. Thank you. Who are you speaking with? Steffi says we were speaking with Suneeta Rao, who's a wonderful singer, and she will be sharing. It'll be up on YouTube too, edited version. Raj says, I love you, Tara. And last live with somebody for today. And then at 5 o'clock, do join on the BBC, Sony BBC Earth handle on Instagram. I'll be live with Sonakshi Sinha talking about World Environment Day and a lot, all the stuff we can do. परमेश्वर से ग्रीन टी पी रहे हो मैम? नहीं, एक्चुअली मैं ब्लैक कॉफी पी रही हूँ. Hi, how are you? Hi.
I'm fine. What's up?
All fine. We're fine. Touchwood. Thank you. I hope you are too. Where are you calling from?
I am calling from Raipur city.
रायपुर. और वहाँ कैसे है अभी? सब ठीक है वहाँ?
हाँ, सब ठीक है.
Good. Safe रहना, ठीक रहना. Thank you for joining.
Okay, आप भी safe रहना. Okay, bye.
Thank you. Bye. 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 So I'm going to say bye to everyone now. Bye. Mayank says your song from Saya led me to this, and I'm so glad I did. Thank you, Mayank. We have a lot of videos on the Tara Sharma Show YouTube channel, ranging from our TV show to lives to Saturday Noon Live to Tara. Tara, tara, tara. Thank you all for joining. And on Facebook too, Parmeshwar, Khalil, thank you for joining. Rishikesh, Yashoban, Sonakshi will be live at 5 o'clock on the Sony BBC Earth handle where I'll be chatting to her. Please send in any questions. Abhishek says you are awesome. Hello, Tara Prakash. Bye. Bye, everyone. Bye, Vibha Shunti. Bye, Akravi. Okay. Saying best wishes and love your content. Thank you. Bye, Amja. Bye, everyone. Ta-ra, ta-ra, ta-ra. Bye on Facebook. Bye on YouTube. Bye.
So where are you from?
From Bombay. We are in Bombay. Bye.
Okay. सपनों का शहर बॉम्बे.
Mumbai. Bye. Bye.
Okay, I leave.
Happy World Environment Day. Bye.